Welcome back to Brisbane Health. We've just been talking to Josh about skydance. So Josh, how can the people of Brisbane get safely into these sort of sports?
All right, Lauren, well, southeast Queensland, northern New South Wales used to be 6,000 feet underground. There are two shield volcanoes, and the remnants of these volcanoes are what we have here today with rich marine life, the Great Dividing Range, and the rocks and cliff faces we have to adventure in around here. So I've just finished a Bachelor of Aviation at Griffith University and started a business, Skydance. We fly aircraft out of Gold Coast and Archerfield into remote locations, and we either skydive in or we land the aircraft and then hike out into remote locations. We're doing canyoning, rock climbing, tandem paragliding, adventures of all different kinds. And we aim to share the experiences with the natural, geological, and spiritual history of the land. So, yeah.
So these sports really, they bring people closer to nature?
Well, getting out in nature and getting out in the elements is something that's so important, and I think that we've kind of gone away from, like I was saying earlier, in society. And I think Eric's work has touched on that a little bit as well.
You know, I'd agree with that. I think there is a typical notion that people doing extreme adventure type activities, they're out to prove themselves, they're out to conquer nature, to battle against the elements in order to come out as some kind of victor. But as I often say, you know, if you're out to conquer Everest, Everest doesn't even know you exist, let alone know there's a competition going on. So it's not much of a competition, really. So what we've found is it's almost the complete opposite again. The experience is much more of a dance, of a sort of a partnership, where as an individual you really have to understand the environment you're in to make sure that the decisions that you undertake, the next move you do, is appropriate for that particular situation. And in the end, therefore, the relationship is much more about getting to understand, being much more connected with the natural world, and as a result yourself as well. So we find that extreme sports people are highly connected to the natural world, and having an opportunity to do that, what we're also finding is really important for most people's health and well-being. The idea of being connected to the natural world for health and well-being is not new. It's been going on for quite a few years, with some people's perceptions being that we're genetically connected to the natural world as a leopard in the forest is. But we've tried to imprison ourselves, rather like if you ever go to a zoo and you've got small cages in the zoo, you see the lions and the tigers pacing up and down. We're kind of doing that to ourselves now. We're putting ourselves into a zoo, and so we're pacing up and down, not quite sure what to do with ourselves. But having an opportunity to reconnect to the natural world through extreme sports or through their less extreme cousins is really, really important for us.
Right, and Josh, with Skydance, you must see a lot of people coming through, you know, maybe see a growth of themselves coming in, you know, quite nervy or something like that, and then all of a sudden they feel so empowered because they've done something, you know, stepped over that fear, and maybe feel like that will pass on to other points of their life as well.
Yeah, when you're out on a mountain climbing up a ridgeline or hiking, pushing yourself towards your limits, and you get to a point where you think you can't go any further, you're tired, you're in pain from maybe your muscles hurt, you're aching, you're thinking, I don't want to do this anymore, and you get near those limits, and then you push through those limits, past that point where you say, I can't go any further, and all of a sudden your horizons open up and you have new limits, and the world around you expands, and oftentimes with the surrounding view around you. And so it's in these moments of contrast that we can express ourselves most freely, in my opinion. And then that is also related to other areas of your life. The noise and the background and all the stress and the anxieties kind of fade away, and all of a sudden you're left with a more sense of connection and groundedness in yourself, and connection to nature, connection to your friends, connection to just more sense of I guess also gratitude, and I think that would transfer into so many other areas of your life. For me, I'm sure, yeah.
What do you think that can pass on? Like where obviously mind, you know, they know that they can do more, but what sort of things?
Well, it's really interesting because one of the things that a lot of people are currently sort of getting themselves involved in at the moment is mindfulness and meditation training, which we've sort of mentioned earlier on. But what we're finding, the understanding at the moment is if you want to have a mindful moment, you've got to create it. You've got to undertake particular activities, whether it's breathing type activities or other kind of activities, to be mindful, because we know of the enormous health benefits of that. But what we're also finding is that the natural world invites mindfulness opportunities. And undertaking activities that Josh is explaining here, where you are challenging yourself, means you have to be totally in the moment. You can't be worrying about all these different things that are going on in life that normally happen. You have to be totally focused on what you're doing right here, right now, which in the end is mindfulness. So the natural world, and adventure in the natural world in particular, triggers opportunities to be mindful, which therefore have all those other health benefits that filter down from that. And that's one of the reasons why we think it's working so well. The other one is that it provides opportunities to feel experiences and feel emotions that we don't normally do. In fact, we'd run away from things like fear and anxiety. Fear and anxiety are supposed to be human beings' sort of greatest enemies. But what we're also finding is that they're actually one of the most important things for us to accept and acknowledge and
getting
experience.
out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, exactly right. Stretching it to the extent of saying, we don't know what we're capable of if all we're going to do is sit on a couch and watch TV. We only know what we're capable of if we try experiences and give things a go. It might be a particular journey, a particular route is not right for you, but if you don't try it, you won't find that out. But what the important thing is to do it in such a way that trying it isn't about risk. It isn't about let's give it a go and see what happens anyway. All those preparation stages are taken in place. So to undertake something now, I mean, Josh's sort of skydance sounds absolutely wonderful, but you can also just go for a bushwalk in the local forest. You can start, as long as you remember what it takes to do that properly. Start doing a little bit of wild camping, doing it properly, doing all the preparations. Maybe do some flat water kayaking and build up slowly. So you're getting all the skills required. You're getting to know yourself. You're getting to know what it takes to undertake the activity safely. You're getting to understand the environment you're in, to understand how to read that effectively so you make appropriate decisions. But at the same time, you're building up all those skills. You're building up that pool, if you like, of health benefits for the future.
I might highlight in there building up your skills to your own personal level, not to someone else's projected level. So the government or society says you aren't allowed to do this or you can't do this. But if you know that you can, push yourself to your limits, get yourself out, kayaking, bushwalking, push yourself to your limits, and then that's irrespective of any other projected limits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, guys, you've just made me want to step outside, and an absolute new admiration for extreme sports people. If you'd like further information on the topics discussed today, please visit the Brisbane Health webpage on www.31.com.au. You can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram. On next week's show, we'll be discussing heart disease. Thanks for watching.